This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Jim wants to know, was there ever any talks of Arn managing Evolution? Of course, Evolution being Batista and Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Triple H. A lot of people naturally drew comparisons to the Four Horsemen, but the Four Horsemen had a J.J. Dillon. Was it ever kicked around that maybe you could be Evolution's J.J.?
Never. Nope. That was, they had all the people in place that they needed. Those guys could talk. Certainly Rick, was in a position to take the lead on doing most of the talking, and Randy and Batista were coming along nicely. Hunter was a veteran. I will take credit for one thing, however. I did name them, which might not be that well known. I came up with the name for Evolution, so I did have a part of it kind of on the sly.
Big Red 603 writes in, you've often spoke about being an agent as part of the office for both WCW and WWE. During your career, was there a specific angle or direction that we can attribute to you?
I had my hands in a lot of stuff, of stuff.
Is there one that stands out where you're like, man, I'm pretty proud of that? If I had to show somebody one thing that had my fingerprints on it, it'd probably be this.
No, I don't think there is any one thing. It was all just, suggestions that were taken and morphed into angles. One of the things that I think was unique, that was my idea, that I thought absolutely worked, was when the NWO dropped myself and they dropped Rey Mysterio, they put us in the same ambulance, if you recall, to take us to the hospital. And Rick was in there, and I think Sting was in there, and it was just the uniqueness of two guys, heel and a babyface, had nothing that brought them together except the circumstances of that night. Being in the same ambulance was a unique situation, and I think it made it real. When two guys would get in the same ambulance, two guys like Sting and Flair being in there, or I think that was the scenario. It just made it unique and real. And that was my idea. And I thought, it worked.
Absolutely. It works. People are still talking about it today. Gustio Windflap wants to know, does Arn have any memories of the friendly tap?
That is our friend Tim's joint, correct?
That's right.
I heard stories. Be honest with you, I'm not tough enough to go in that place. Heard a lot of stories about guys going in and having a few cocktails when they were in the area. And what is Tim's last name? I feel so guilty about not knowing it.
Tim White.
Tim White, a long tenured member of the WWF, WWE company. I think he might still work for him, doing appearances and escorting guys and doing stuff. But that was his place, and he always invited us in. It was just one of those things that when the show was over, we were too busy getting to the next town, because that had the, traveling at night up in that Northeast, a lot of things could happen during the day. It could be a wreck. There could be construction, any number of things that could really mesh up. So the rule of thumb was, when you're in the Northeast or California, show was over, get to the next town that night. And that prevented us from going to the tap very, very few times.
Let's keep it rolling. An interesting question here about from James Williams about Mr. Kennedy. Why do you think Mr. Kennedy never made it all the way to the top of WWE? He had the charisma, his work was good, but the rumor and innuendo was he had heat backstage. What do you remember about Mr. Kennedy?
Well, I remember he was talented. The guy was very talented. And, he had a unique deal with the old school mic dropping and announcing himself. And he was a good performer, looked good, could work, could talk. He had everything. Something I'm not privy to did happen backstage with some other talent. And I know that the office went south as far as he was concerned, their feelings for him and the way they were going to use him. And I know that something occurred. I'm not sure what that was, so I can't even comment on it. But I mean, he had a pretty successful career up until that point. And then, you know, as it were, something happened and his water got cut off. And I'm not sure what that was, but the guy was a very good performer in every aspect.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.